In a small garage in California, a young dreamer was about to change the course of human history. His name was Steve Jobs, a rebel, a visionary, a man obsessed, not with power, but with perfection. But before the iPhone, before the glowing Apple logo became a symbol of innovation, there was chaos, rejection, and pain. Chapter 1. Steve Jobs wasn't like everyone else. He didn't fit into classrooms or corporate rules. He once said, "The people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do." Born in 1955 and adopted soon after birth, Jobs grew up in a modest home in Silicon Valley, a place that would soon become the heartbeat of technology. But young Steve wasn't interested in comfort. He was fascinated by the magic behind machines, by how technology could speak to the soul. At just 20 years old, with his friend Steve Wozniak, he started a company in a small garage. They called it Apple. It was more than a name. It was a philosophy, simplicity, creativity, and rebellion. Their goal wasn't to make computers. Their goal was to empower the mind. Chapter 2. The world didn't believe in them. But then came the Apple II, one of the first mass-produced personal computers. Suddenly, Apple wasn't just a company, it was a revolution. By 1984, Steve Jobs introduced something extraordinary, the Macintosh. It wasn't just a computer, it was art. It had personality, emotion, and purpose. But behind the scenes, Apple was falling apart. Jobs' perfectionism made him both brilliant and unbearable. He demanded the impossible, not because he wanted control, but because he saw what others couldn't. In 1985, Apple's board of directors fired the man who created the company. Imagine being exiled from your own dream. That moment could have broken anyone, but not Steve Jobs. Chapter 3. For the next decade, Jobs disappeared from the headlines. But he was far from done. He created a new company called Next and bought a struggling animation studio that would later become Pixar. Pixar gave us Toy Story, Finding Nemo, The Incredibles, stories that touched hearts across the globe. And through them, Jobs learned something crucial. Technology means nothing without emotion. And fate had one more twist waiting. In 1997, Apple was dying. The company that fired him was near collapse. And so, in a dramatic twist of destiny, Apple brought back its lost son. Chapter 4. Jobs returned, sharper, wiser, unstoppable. He simplified Apple's products, redesigned their soul, and brought focus back to one thing: innovation with purpose. Then, in 2001 came the iPod, 1,000 songs in your pocket. It wasn't just music, it was freedom. And yet, this was only the beginning. Because in 2007, the world would witness something no one had ever imagined. Chapter 4. Jobs returned, sharper, wiser, unstoppable. He simplified Apple's products, redesigned their soul, and brought focus back to one thing: innovation with purpose. Then, in 2001 came the iPod, 1,000 songs in your pocket. It wasn't just music, it was freedom. And yet, this was only the beginning. Because in 2007, the world would witness something no one had ever imagined. Chapter 5. January 9th, 2007. Steve Jobs walks onto the stage in his black turtleneck, blue jeans, and sneakers. He smiles, calm, confident. And then he says the words that changed everything. Today, Apple is going to reinvent the phone. The iPhone wasn't just a device. It was a revolution in your pocket, combining a phone, an iPod, and an internet communicator into one seamless experience. It redefined design, connectivity, and the very way humans interact. Before the iPhone, phones were buttons. After the iPhone, phones were life. It wasn't about the technology. It was about humanity, about bringing the power of computing into the hands of everyone, everywhere. And Steve knew it. Chapter 6. But greatness always comes with a cost. Behind the applause and billions in sales, Jobs battled illness, a fight he rarely showed. In 2011, at just 56 years old, Steve Jobs passed away. But his voice, his energy, his dream never died. Every swipe on your screen, every design in your pocket, every digital heartbeat in your hand carries his fingerprint. Because Steve Jobs didn't just build products. He built a philosophy, a way of thinking, a reminder that simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. Chapter 7. After his death, many wondered, can Apple survive without him? But his spirit was woven into the company's DNA. From the Apple Watch to the iPad, from the M-series chips to the Vision Pro, every product still carries his obsession with detail, beauty, and humanity. Jobs once said, "We're here to put a dent in the universe. Otherwise, why even be here?" And he did. He dented the universe and changed the rhythm of our world. The iPhone wasn't just a phone. It became a camera, a map, a music player, a lifeline, a tool of creation and connection. It shaped generations. It reshaped reality. Chapter 8. Steve's life was never about money or fame. It was about vision. He believed that when you love what you do, when you follow your intuition, when you dare to think differently, the impossible becomes inevitable. He reminded us that failure isn't the end. It's the seed of reinvention. That passion without purpose is noise, and that the ones who dream in color, even when the world sees black and white, are the ones who move humanity forward. So if you're watching this now, remember, you don't need to be a genius to change the world. You just need to be crazy enough to try. This was the untold story of Steve Jobs, the man who didn't just build technology, he built tomorrow.